I'm glad you could join us in this edition of People and Places here on Ghana Web TV. Today, we sit with a prolific playwright and lecturer who has produced some of the greatest actors and actresses you see on your screens and in the theaters. We'll have a conversation about his life and journey into lecturing and playwriting. So stay with us as we take this quick break. We'll return and I'll introduce my guest. I am Wanda Amihegan. We'll be right back. Our guest today is a legend. I like to describe him as that. He is Professor Martin Okyere Owusu. He's an associate professor of theatre arts at the School of Performing Arts, Department of Theatre Arts at the University of Ghana, Legon. He's also a prolific playwright and director, and he has wide international experience in teaching literature and drama. Good afternoon, Prof.
Good afternoon.
How are you doing?
Well, by God's grace, I'm doing well.
It's a pleasure and an honor to, have a conversation with you today. Thank you for having us. Okay, so my very first question is a little funny, but is it a common phrase for you?
Yes, it's something that I use to relax my students.
Your students, a lot of them have said it's your favorite comment.
Yeah, so for example, if a student doesn't quite behave the way I use it, you have no problems. You don't seem to have any worries. So that is it's a funny implication of to relax them, make them feel good in class.
Okay. The students like to give you fans. Even say, oh, you're a guy.
I didn't understand that. Every person is a guy, especially if you're a male. So, but in Ghana, when they say you are a guy, it means that
fans,
just some. I really appreciate that, but I don't understand.
Okay. So we know you are a renowned playwright, a professor. You've taught a lot of people, but tell us, what else don't we know? Who is Professor Owusu?
Oh, a village boy, born 1943 in a town called Agunakwaman, near Sud Central Region. My father was a catechist, Presbyterian church. So I and my siblings, we grew up in the mission house. And by God's grace, I passed the common entrance in the Methodist Middle School, Agunakwaman, in 1956. And I entered Infant Film School. So from there, I proceeded to train as a teacher at the Presbyterian Training College, which is now the Presby College of Education in Kropong. And from there I came to Legon. I studied the A-level at the same time that I was studying to become a teacher. So I combined the two and entered the University of Ghana and pursued the drama and theatre program. I was one of the first batch of 12 students who started the program, 1963. And there were 8 boys, including me, and 4 girls. And so we were the very first batch of students to begin the theatre program at the University of Ghana. And from there, I went to teach literature in Cape Coast, St. Augustine's full-time, and other schools, in Cape Coast. And then I was lucky to be selected for a British Council scholarship. And I went to the UK, Bristol University, to study for my master's in literature, MLit. And after 2 years, I came back to Ghana and I went to lecture at Cape Coast, University of Cape Coast. After 3 years, I got another fellowship. By God's grace again, This time I went to the U.S., Boston, Massachusetts, at Brandeis University, and I studied for my PhD in English and American literature. And from there I came back to Ghana after spending 10 years there, teaching in various universities. I came back and joined the University of Ghana's School of Performing Arts, and I've been here since then. 1987 I joined the School of Performing Arts, and I've been lecturing in drama, various aspects of drama, play analysis, interpretation, my favorite, and then playwriting, directing, and including now we have the postgraduate edition where we have the PhD. So all in all, I've climbed the ladder by God's grace, really, because I come from a modest family. When I say modest, my father was a catechist and a school teacher, headmaster in the basic schools. My mother was a baker and a seamstress. So it isn't like I was born into some wealthy situation, which I've been okay if that was so. But even so, going to school, they, for example, had to pawn the cocoa farm. And then later on, when I completed my master's, I went back to pay back for it, to retrieve the farm. So it wasn't an easy going through. But then, somewhere along the line, I got assistance, for example, British Council coming and offering me a scholarship. And then Brandeis University offered me a full tuition-free scholarship to go for my PhD program. And all of these, I can't say it is because I was simply brilliant, but also by the benevolence of other people.
We know Prof. Can you tell us a little about your family?
Family? Oh, I have 2 children, grown up.
Okay.
My daughter, whose picture is here, is a HR director in the US. My son is a professor at Boston University, also in the media and film. And I had 3, one passed, the last born passed, but it's God who took him my way.
Okay. And
I have a wife and 2 other children adopted at home.
Okay.
Very, very happy.
Beautiful
my brother
family.
is Mr. Benasanti, which is a lecturer here. And my other siblings, I could say half brothers and sisters, they're also all around, and we do meet once in a while and so on. So we have a large, what you could say, external family, as well as the nuclear family.
Can you tell us, I mean, in your JHS or your junior high school, your lower, your basic education, did you have any subjects that you hated?
Hated?
Yes.
Chemistry.
Okay.
I didn't like the scent of gas. In fact, at the infant school, when it was Wednesday, and it was the lesson for chemistry, and the chemistry mistress would release some nitrogen gas, and it would fill the classroom, and I couldn't take it, you know. And so I, even though it was a subject that I could have done very well, because of this prejudice against it, but I wouldn't call it hatred.
Okay.
It just didn't sit well with my soul.
Right. Talking about that, what was your favorite subject back then?
Literature.
No doubt.
Literature from the beginning.
So it was an interest from the very beginning.
From the very beginning.
Okay.
And let me bring you to see that right from Form 1, there was staff production.
Okay.
Okay. Annual staff production by the staff, including Shakespeare plays.
Okay.
And in Cape Coast at that time, the St. Augustine's, for example, they used to do pantomimes. Aladdin and Aladdin's the genie, the Arabian Nights.
Yeah.
And at the Saddle, they used to do classical Greek plays,
Okay.
including Antigone, Oedipus, and so on. So it was a very vibrant place. You know, the ambience was right for theatre to be groomed and so on. And I felt myself in the midst of all these. And I remember the British Council would come and show us films of Shakespeare's plays. I remember they showed us Henry V, and then King Richard III. And I remember there were ghosts in Richard III, and I couldn't sleep that night. I got so scared, you know. But then that attracted me more to study more of Shakespeare and other playwrights. I also remember that in 1957, yes, there was this new play, This Is Our Chance, by a Nigerian playwright, James N. Henshaw, which was very popular around West Africa. And I played a role in it as one of the dancers, a small boy. Okay. I was a very tiny student then. So that's how, in my formative years, I got interested in this whole idea of drama theatre.
Okay. And earlier you mentioned that you schooled in the US. You did your PhD in Boston.
Yes.
Okay. And after that, you had the opportunity to teach in a number of schools.
Yes.
So teaching was your very first job?
My very first job was teaching at St. Augustine's, Cape Coast.
Okay.
After my undergrad here at Legon.
Okay.
And I was teaching literature. Not language.
Okay.
Literature. Even though language was part of literature. So inevitably, one had to deal with the semantics of English. But then whilst there, I taught literature in various other schools, including my own school. I taught for 3 years or 2 years there after St. Augustine's. I taught at Holy Child School, Sixth Form, Whistler Girls High School, Sixth Form, Agri Memorial. I taught there too, Sixth Form. So and other places, you know. But in the U.S., I lectured in the University of Massachusetts, and then Emerson College and Brandeis University, my alma mater, before I came back.
So you've done a lot of teaching in your life.
Yeah.
In all, how many years would you say, how long would you say you've been teaching for?
From 1966 to date. So we're talking about how many years now? Add 44 to 20.
That's 84.
Okay.
84 years of teaching.
That is 64.
64.
64.
Okay.
I'm not even 80. I'm 77.
Okay. Wow, and you've been teaching for 64 years of your 77 years. Wow.
Wow. What else
I'm
could I do?
very impressed.
Thank you.
Okay. And that's for teaching.
Yes.
Let's talk a little about playwriting.
Yeah.
When did you get into playwriting?
When I was schooling at Legon, I began to write plays. So I always tell the students that don't complete your undergrad or postgrad before you write the first play. Start writing it as you learn and go along.
Okay.
So I remember I wrote my very first play as a student. That was The Adventures of Sasa Enisi.
Okay.
2 plays for children.
Okay.
All right. And I remember it was published by Ghana Publishing Corporation. It was performed for Ghana Television. And then after that, I wrote The Story Nancy Told when I was teaching at St. Augustine's for the Star production. And that followed up with other plays, The Mightier Sword, The Sudden Return, and other plays. One of my favorites is The Legend of Akusika, about Ghanaians' attitude to deformity. It's terrible.
Okay.
So
we'll get into your plays pretty soon, but your first day as a lecturer.
Yeah.
Can you recount that?
That's a difficult one because we are talking about sentiments, memory. But I had no difficulty having trained as a teacher. You see, you overcome the stage fright. So I didn't have any difficulties at all. I plunged straight into teaching literature at University of Cape Coast, and I enjoyed it, and I'm very comfortable with it in the English department.
And your plays?
Yes.
Of all the plays you've written over the years, many of them.
Yes.
What would you say are your top 3, if you are supposed to choose out of the many, the 3 that stand out the most for you? What would they be?
It's like asking a parent who has 10 children
to choose 3
favorites. And I will reluctantly answer your question. But I also say that it's not fair to subdue other works coming from the same mind and say these are the 3 outstanding. Each play has its own chemistry. So however difficult it is, I will suggest that the Sudden Return is one.
Okay.
The Story Nancy too is another. And The Legend of Akusika, if you want 3 out of the many.
Okay.
But the others, like The Mightier Soul, a historical play, it's a very major work.
Okay.
You know, and others that one would equally pay attention to. I'll tell you what. You know, the department did a play recently. The ASPA produced it. It was directed by Bernard Ajako. Joseph and the Technicolor Dream Code. It has to do with the sons of Jacob. And Jacob had a favorite.
You're talking Jacob in the Bible,
yes,
right?
In the Bible.
Okay.
He had a favorite, Joseph.
Yes.
And he gave him this dream code, Technicolor code. And that didn't sit well with the other brothers. And they plotted his
downfall.
Yeah. They sold him into slavery. You see, and so when you have children, in this case, personification of plays that I have written, I hesitate to say these 3 are my favorite. What about the others? They may be crying without my knowledge. You understand?
Yeah.
If they were human beings.
Prof, how many plays do you have to your credit?
Many. Can you
give us a figure to it?
No. But there were those that I didn't even
record
or publish. Those plays for Ghana television.
Okay.
And we've done plays for road safety. We've done plays for AIDS.
Yeah.
I was commissioned to write plays for the Commission on Culture, and so all these have not been counted as.
Okay.
So when I say many, I mean many.
Many. Right. Have you acted before, Prof?
Acted?
Yes.
If you come to the School of Performing Arts and you train as a theatre major, you are by default to be on stage. You begin with that. So whether you're a playwright or a director or whatever, you've got to be on stage.
Okay.
And so you began from there. And I've been acting, including Kowansan's Heritage Africa. I played a major role in that.
Right.
Okay. I played a doctor, yes, matron. And I've been acting on stage. You know, I played the lawyer in the witness for the prosecution. I played the defense lawyer, for Roberts.
Okay.
And many other things. I've even played my own plays, like the story Nancy too. I played a Nancy.
Okay.
In it, I also played the narrator. And so, as for acting,
you've been there.
It is there. It's basic. You've got to do it.
Right.
So that is.
When was the last time you acted in anything? Theater, movie? anything?
The last time I acted in a play, that was last year.
Okay.
Last year.
That's very
Yes,
recent.
that was Witness for the Prosecution.
Okay.
I played the role of Sir Wilfred Roberts, Defense Counsel.
Wow. Great. Let's just talk about this before we take a quick break. You starred in a commercial some time back. How was that experience like? And did it get you a lot of fortunes? Because I mean, commercials bring money.
Unfortunately, at that time, that was 1989 or 90. I starred in the advert for SIC, insurance company. But I didn't represent insurance company, SIC. I represent an imaginary company called World Insurance Company.
Okay.
And it was fun. It was the longest advert, 1 minute, 32 seconds or so, by Kowansa. And I got a lot of fans, all right, especially with the expression, as I was saying, and coming to me in and so forth. But I think in terms of money at that time, well, if it were today, it would have been quite substantial. So, but I wouldn't call it a fortune.
Okay. Okay. Prof,
yes.
We have a surprise for you after this break. But let's hold it there. Take a short break. Please stay with us and we'll return to continue the conversation.
We table issues relating to the arts and entertainment for a riveting discussion, of course, without fear nor favor.
The question the presenter asked them was a dumb question. You need to speak the fact and move.
Varied views. We agree to disagree.
So I would disagree with everything you said. I think that he's a smart guy. I think what he did.
No, but I also said he's a smart guy.
Yeah.
I guess that I'm waiting for the what next.
Yeah, I don't think that we have to wait for what next.
It sometimes gets confrontational, but that's the beauty of the game.
Today you are denying funny face.
It's not my brother.
Today you are denying funny face.
I don't know him.
You don't know funny face.
It's not my brother.
You don't know funny face.
It's a package. We meet, we sit, we dialogue, we learn, we progress. My name is Benefo Huabin Abrantepa, a proud blogger, and this is my forum.
When I entered the School of Performing Arts, I had already appeared on TV. I had already featured in Taxi Driver. I had already appeared in Chichi Kule. I wasn't new to the screens. I had had some experience, and well, I thought I was a star. But Professor Martin also had a way of making you unlearn what you already think you know, and then you relearn what is better and would make you a complete person. By the time I was entering the University of Ghana in the year 2000, School of Performing Arts, I could say I was just an actor. But by the time I stepped out, thanks to people like Professor Martin Owusu, I was a complete theater. Everything that we had gone through had made me ready for the market in the sense that I was no longer just an actor, but I could also script, I could produce, I could direct. The practice of theater, if you open yourself, open your mind, and avail yourself to the teachings of people like legends like Professor Martin Owusu, and you are able to apply everything you have been taught, you'd realize that whichever field you decide to go into politics, you'd make a great politician. Because the kind of training that you get disciplines you in so many ways, and it readies you for the world. I remember one thing Professor Martin Owusu used to say all the time: a little learning is a dangerous thing, so drink deep.
Prof, I think that I can just describe him as, probably as an ocean, if you will, because we know to date, the ocean has still not been well explored. Scientists will tell you that about only 5% of the ocean has been explored. And that is smart, with Prof for you, because then there's so much that he has to offer, and yet we're not able to, get enough of him. I mean, he's not the one who would, the type of, lecturer who would spoon feed you. He makes you think beyond your course outline. He didn't want to produce people who were just filled with knowledge, but people who were practical with whatever knowledge that they acquired. And because of the demand of our industry, especially in those times, Prof never grows. He never grows old. I mean, you kind of same way he is. He's really taken good care of himself. His health has been great over the years, and sometimes we kind of want to find more information about him, and then we ask our seniors, and they're like, "Prof is the same." I mean, they describe him, he's the same. During our interactions, there's so much wit and a lot of fun times, especially when we get onto the stage and we mess up a bit. Sometimes he speaks with his eyes and looks, and it speaks volumes. And
Prof's class was interesting all the time. He took his time to explain things to us better, and he would do this by telling us stories. He would sometimes demonstrate himself or call some of us out to reenact certain things. Prof was a kind man. In level 300, during a lecture, Prof told us he was staging a play at University of Ghana, and we wanted to see this play badly. We tried to secure the school's SRC bus to transport us to Legon to see the play, but we were unable to get it. And to our surprise, Prof actually hired 2 buses to transport us from Cape Coast to Legon to see the performance, and then back to Cape Coast. And we didn't pay a dime. And he cares so much about his students. There's this one thing that Prof taught me. He wouldn't mind apologizing to me when he felt he wronged me. We had our differences. Everyone does. But for an adult to actually realize that maybe he said something that he wasn't supposed to have said, to apologize, come back and apologize to you, I felt that was a good thing, and I learned that from him.
My biological father virtually handed me over to Professor Martin Owusu, who said to him that this boy is going to become what you were not. Professor Martin Owusu was one of the reasons why I wanted to go to the School of Performing Arts. And I'm telling him today, probably he doesn't know. If he'll be watching, he is one of the reasons. I used to watch him, I used to love him, and I said to myself that I would like to be like this man. So I met him at the entrance interview. To be very honest, I was a bit dumbfounded. I had butterflies. And so he asked questions, and there I was. I was rather looking at the man than thinking about the questions that he had asked. I failed. But I was really determined to be with this man. I went the second time. And he remembered that, hey, you came here last year. I said, yes. And here I was. I got enrolled in the School of Performing Arts. I don't know who would say anything negative about Professor Martin Owusu. He's a storyteller. He understands every literary story. When he comes to class, boy, why would you want to miss his class? Okay, don't read the book, don't read the drama, but come to class and he will tell you the story.
Professor Martin Owusu had a great impact on my life as a practitioner of theater and as a man of God. There are a lot of stuff I do in church when I'm ministering, which comes with a lot of theatrical gestures, which has really helped in putting out to people, preaching to people for them to understand the exact thing we want to put out to them. Prof is one of the most jovial, down-to-earth personalities, but when it gets to the work, you can be his best of all, he will not spare you when you mess up. I remember there was a day we were having a production, we were on stage. I think it was a rehearsal, and I was supposed to say, if I remember, I think that was the first time I was trying to say this word correctly, creature, and I had grown up calling it creature. So I was on stage and I said, I remember it was the Diary of Adam and Eve. I was Adam, and I said creature, and he said, a creature, and I laughed, and I went back, came on stage, and I said creature, and then he said, hey, it's creature. Say it. I said creature. All that was fun, but when I came in the third time and I messed up again, it wasn't fun again. Anyway, he told me point blank, you're a very good actor. If you want to go far, learn how to accept corrections on the go. It's one thing for someone to just say you are good, but it's another thing for that person to not only say you are good, but believe in you and make sure that whatever he does, he involves you in it. And that's what Prof did to me.
By the way he was teaching us, I rose up to become the best student in play analysis and interpretation. And since then, I've always been with him. He's ever ready to support anything that his students are doing. So I became his TA when I was doing the masters. You could see that this man was almost always on me. And we were trying hard, and I finished. In fact, both of us enjoyed the success. So I became a full lecturer, and then now a senior lecturer, who is the head of department of this noble department. But I must say, I owe about 80% of all these things to Professor Owusu, who actually guided me. In fact, in my thesis, I wrote, Professor Owusu is the Wawaba of drama in Ghana. He teaches well. So somehow we took after him. The way he would teach, the way he would bring in some humor, for students to be happy that he will be followed up and down. And sometimes we call him Martin, And I say, hey, Martin, we're a guy. And we all laugh. Something that I've learned about him is his patience and how he can go so low to any level. I was his student. Now, I am the head of department. Somehow, I also have become somebody he has to serve in a way. He has to respect. You understand? And as I'm serving him as the head of department, he has to also sometimes obey certain things that I say. And I must say that he's very submissive. He does nothing. He's not the type who would say that, hey, after all, he was my boy, he's my student, and the rest. No. The way he relates to me, I feel very bad, because I don't deserve it. But Professor also makes me feel I am on top of the world.
3 words wouldn't be enough, but let me try. I'd say untapped, an ocean, and professionalism.
Intelligent, energetic, talented.
He's a disciplinarian. He's firm. He knows what to say to you. He doesn't break you down. But there's one thing he would do. He will show with his mannerisms when he's not happy.
I'm trying to find a word because I have like 30 words in my head. But in 3 words, Prof he's a genius. He's a super genius. Number 2, Prof is exceptional. The final thing I'll say is this. I don't know what others will say, but from my experience, he's a father and he's taught me humility to the last part. No matter your age, he can come down to your level just to make fun with you.
To sum up Professor Owusu is a very difficult thing. But for me, Professor Owusu is very affable, down to earth, intelligent, and a professor.
Today, as I said here, the level of confidence that man has imbibed in me make me president of Ghana, and I'm sure I'll do very well. Professor Martin Owusu is simply a legend.
Oh my goodness, thank you, sir, thank you from the depths of I mean, I know we don't say this as often as we should, but you know, in our hearts, and I'm sure in the hearts of most of my colleagues and mates, you have been such a pillar in our journey as far as this our craft is concerned.
Meeting Professor Martin Owusu and the number of people he has impacted across the globe, I'm telling you, if people will really be sincere and come out, the number of BA people, the number of BFA people, if they'll all come out and be very sincere and tell you, I'm telling you what, there are over 70% of people in top places in this country who one way or the other, so long as they found themselves in this department or as theatre art students, had a feel of Professor Martin Owusu.
I'm grateful, Prof. And today I wish you long life, good health, and I want to say that I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
He's one such a jolly good fellow. I can do more, I know. And I know that you have tried to push me even when I got into corporate life. I know you tried to pull me back and come in and let's do this, but I hope I've not failed you yet, because I will do it. Thank you so much.
So welcome back, and thank you for staying for that short break. Now, what you just saw was Professor Martin Owusu watching a video compiled by us. We did a few rounds to get some of his students who now are in various fields out there doing very well to share their experience and their memories of Prof, to tell us how they felt studying under him and working with him. Prof.
Yes.
Watching this, how does it make you feel?
Good. I congratulate you for putting this wonderful sequence together. And what I would say, the testimonies that those that the Lord has made it possible for me to meet and interact with, say all these nice good things about me. I'm grateful to you and to them. And I do hope that the goodwill will carry on even as I journey towards the final destination. Only God will decide that. But I thank you all very much too.
It was a pleasure doing this. Indeed, you've produced so many good people out there, and we are proud of you. But one thing that your students usually say, and you heard from the clips, is that you are jovial, you make your class interesting and all of that. Are these traits you picked from your parents, your friends, from somewhere, or is it just you?
So a difficult question, you know, because as in growing up in school, we had teachers who wouldn't smile, who wouldn't, and I didn't like it. I didn't feel comfortable. I mean, serious, and they would not crack it, you know, nothing. Serious, and then you walk away, and even if you giggled a bit, you were I didn't like that. And as a teacher, if you want to reach the students with knowledge, I think one of the best ways, not the only way, is to get them relaxed, get them feel confident, and encourage them. Now, coming down doesn't mean you are belittling yourself. Simply that you have to understand the level that they are at and operate from that level as you build the edifice up. And so it is experiences that I've been through, both as a student and as a lecturer, meeting others and so forth. All together, this is what has made me. And teaching, learning how to teach in the training college, it's also a remarkable experience.
Okay.
That adds on to
who you are now.
Who I am.
Okay. Indeed, I'm going to ask you another difficult question. Of all your years of teaching, or say lecturing, would you remember any memorable experience with your students or as a lecturer?
Memorable. This was especially during the theatre season period.
Okay.
When we managed to establish 1 month or more, when during the long vac, that all the students came back into residence, and then we rehearsed a number of plays and sent to them to the Theatre Center and then to the National Theatre for 1 month. And we did these productions, invited the public. Now we sent the gown to town.
Okay.
Unfortunately, at a certain point, it was brought to an end, but there are ways of seeking to revive it. So those were very memorable occasions beyond the classroom, sending productions
out
to the National Theatre.
Okay. Have you seen or watched the works of any of your students, be it theatre, plays, or movies?
Oh, yes, indeed. Some of the students, I cannot name names, but I have watched. Anytime I'm invited to watch a student production, I will go and watch it.
And how does it make you feel, knowing
Wonderful.
that the lens
and
from you?
for them to have me present and make a comment or two, they also love that too. So I would say that yes, attending their productions encourages them to do more.
Okay.
Yes.
Prof, having worked in a theatre field for so long, what do you make of theatre in Ghana? An assessment?
Oh yes. In every endeavor, we say there's always room for improvement. Things can be better. And I think that people are doing their various jobs here in the industry. And sometimes we need to find more time to devote to the theatre as an industry. There used to be a lot of amateur groups in Ghana. Somehow most of these have dissipated. I hope that with the new dispensation, the lifting of the ban on theatres, that more such groups will re-emerge and energize the theatre world in Ghana.
Okay. Now, there's one issue that has been consistent in Ghana as far as theatre is concerned, is venue for showing plays and other things. Now, we seem to have an edifice in this school, this prestigious school, but it looks like it's not yet open. What's the issue with that? Can you comment on that?
Unfortunately, I cannot. I don't know why.
Okay.
But it's been 17 plus years. Only a little bit more left to finish. And we do hope that the university and the government will find the little left to complete it.
Great.
Then the rainy season. Imagine yesterday. How could we have used the drama studio?
Yeah.
And yet the building is there. So we have the amphitheater, also open space. So we do hope and pray that the powers that be will complete it.
Okay. What have been some of your biggest challenges through your journey?
Theater survives on conflict. Drama is powered by people involved in a conflict of ideas, sometimes even physical. Okay, so challenges are part of man's life. And so as a playwright, as a director, as an actor, as a teacher and so forth, we learn how to handle life's challenges. Theater is a reflection of life.
Yeah.
And so if you just have one long, peaceful existence without any challenges, then Sophocles will tell you, show me that man who has had a life without challenges till he gets to his grave. None. So it is part of life.
Okay. And what is your biggest fear in life?
Fear.
Yes.
Anyone who lives with fear cannot move forward. I take my step one at a time. And I don't think that I should be occupied by fear, because once you have God, Christ in you, all fear, like darkness, will dissipate with the light of God and of Christ.
Okay. Now, we know teaching makes you happy. Your students, seeing your students do well out there also makes you happy. But tell us, any other thing that makes you happy? What makes you happy? What makes you have fun?
Getting up and knowing that life is still, and the heart is beating, and you get involved in all kinds of things that you didn't even anticipate. That the world can be a good, nice place, even though we know there are all these challenges that you mentioned. So as we experience God-given life, you come across the environment, you know, the beauty of the universe, the stars. You begin to wonder, my God, how did I become part of this wonderful existence? That makes me happy.
Did any of your children express interest in literature or what you do at any point in your lives?
They all do, but it's my son who took after me.
Okay.
He's also into literature and filmmaking, and he also been doing what we are doing now.
Okay. Now, Prof, you've achieved a lot in life. You're filled with so much knowledge. And I'm sure you've received a lot of laurels. But do you think you've been celebrated enough?
I should think so. Over-celebration is actually an overkill. If you take a look at the things out there, Kwame Nkrumah African Genius Award for drama. That's the effigy there. And then we have African Writers Association Award, Achievement Award. We have my own students, Clement and his group, the comedy group. They've also awarded me. Then Dr. PJ and his mates also have awarded me. Last week, this one, 2 weeks ago, this was in Central Region Honor Award. As you can see, they've actually honored me on the 26th anniversary of the school. Kwaboche, yes. So I'm very proud of that. That the Old Boys Association felt the need to honor me, and I mean that is a host of them. So what else do I need to say that I've been celebrated enough, more than enough. Okay, and what we are doing right now is another celebration. And I'm overwhelmed by all of these. And I'm grateful to all those who have come to celebrate my life, even as I still live.
Prof, I didn't study under you, but the impact and the testimony of others alone is enough to know that you've done so much.
Why didn't you study under me?
Unfortunately, I found myself in another school. So,
all right.
Yes, but we are grateful for your time and for sharing your life and the story about your work with us. It's a very impressive journey, and we congratulate you again.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Right.
And indeed, the honor is mine.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And so that's it. We've heard from, I told you, he's prolific. He's produced so many actors, actresses, you name it. So many people doing marvelous things out there. And we have the privilege of having a conversation with him in today's edition of People and Places. This wouldn't have been possible without you and your company, of course. So thank you for joining us and making time with us. I am Wanda Amihagan, and it's always a pleasure to come your way with another edition of the show. Take care and be safe until we meet in another edition.